blessing, and every L is a lesson. So when I run into rejection, I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me, the chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes, don't make excuses, they never excite me. Boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted, this passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it.
Good morning, Knicks universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks Morning Brew on this Monday, January 22nd. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, hanging out with my compañeros. I got my guy Phil, all cap, and I got my brother Jiggaman Porto. All you Knicks fans, wake up and get your coffee. Fellas, how we doing?
What up, Phil? You're back. I missed you, bro. Welcome back, Phil.
Yo, it feels good to be back. It was, it was a hard episode missing, but was able to watch you guys lock it in, and super thankful that we have guys like Eddie who could step in situations like that. But I missed the chat, I missed the panel. Glad to be back. If you guys are rocking with us today, do me a favor, hit a retweet, hit a repost on Instagram, repost it on your Facebook. Let's continue to blow this up.
I think sometimes people don't retweet your shit because you're not like me where I reread things like 10 times. You just like, and then bam, right? You're like, I kissed the show on Friday. I was like, Phil, ain't people retweeting that you kissing people on a Friday? And that's what, and then they don't lie. You missed them. You texted me. Hold on.
No, I like to joke around
the same with
our Phil. Yeah, I like to joke around with my guy Phil, but I did miss my brother Phil. Phil, it's good to have you back. Let's do a little bit of the roll call before we continue. I got my guy Gideon in the building. G Money, how we doing? David Rios is in the building. David Rios, how you doing? We got our guy Jammin' Jet is in the building. Angel Torres is in the building. Alex Nieves is in the building. How you doing? On Dios NYK, our Nick Fram de la Isla.
Hold on Dios. I'm gonna hit you up, bro. I'll hit you up tonight about the Knicks and Charlotte Hornets game. All right, keep going. CP the artist in the building.
CP the artist is in the building. Salute to you, my guy. Ally Wise is in the building. Harlem CEO, how are we doing? Jacob Petruzzi, my guy. Folks, we got over 61 people in the building. If you're watching us on Instagram, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on Twitter, click the link in the bio, jump on over for the conversation on YouTube. We are sitting at 2,916 subscribers on our way to 3,000. So if you kindly hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to us already. But Phil, we had the two youngins come back to the Garden, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett. Even though the Knicks was able to wax that ass, the two young kids came back to the Garden. How were you guys feeling after that game? Phil, I throw it over to you since your dog name is Barrett. How are you feeling after that game?
Man, it was good.
Well, you know what? Phil, wait. I want to get in your feels before we do that. Hold on.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of him.
Yeah. And shout out to Jay Boogie. He said he's on my Busta Rhymes this morning. And yeah, that whole game had me in my woo-ha feels, I really, I was feeling my Busta Rhymes in that game as well. One thing I said on the last episode that I was on was I want to see how sincere these, missing or friendship, between RJ and IQ and Randle really were, because we saw him say some things about Obi Toppin's my guy, and then when Obi got there was that friction that we saw. But I feel like we saw the realest version of Julius Randle in that game. Like I felt like we saw the real big brother, like this is my family, like I'm sincere, this is this matters to me. And what I loved about it was that it was not just an emotionally cool thing to watch Julius Randle, but in my opinion, it was one of the best games that I've seen Julius Randle play.
True.
Which is crazy because it's not the 25 and 10 that so many people are expecting, but it was way better in my opinion. It was only 18 points, but homeboy had 16 freaking rebounds and 10 assists. And 10 assists. He was balling out of control and he was making wise decisions. He was showing effort. And it was just cool to see both of them play back and forth. You know that I love RJ and IQ. And so seeing them in the first half, especially, they played really, really well. So I feel like this is a good fit for them, which also makes me happy watching that game, because I feel like it's going to be something that's going to bolster their career in the end. And that's all you can want as a Knicks fan, you know, is to see your people succeed and see them continue to succeed outside of a Knicks uniform. So I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was emotionally up and down, crazy, but it was great to watch.
Shout out to Savage NYC in the chat. Knicks are nicer in the building. Double A is in the building. And he said, yep, the Randle 7 turnovers. Even when Randle has a good game, Knicks fans, we still have to point out the flaws. When it comes to Julius Randle, that was his 14th triple-double, his 14th. 8 of them have been with the New York Knicks, right? So credit to Randle when credit is due. Whenever Randle has a good game, you're going to hear me give him credit. When he has a bad game, you guys are going to see me criticize him, right? But it all comes down to Randle. Can you do what you did against the Raptors in the postseason? We know this season so far, the Knicks are 19-1 against teams that are under 500, and we are 7 and God knows what else against teams that are over 500. We know we could beat the teams that are under 500. We have to beat the teams that are over 500. We won't get to see that for the next couple of games. We got Brooklyn tomorrow. But when it comes to the teams that are under 500, we know what this team could do against those teams. It's the teams that are over 500 that we have to be competitive against. But credit to Julius Randle. He had a triple-double. Credit to this team. Everybody showed up. Jalen Brunson had a solid game. That third quarter was amazing. The ball movement. And again, Precious Achiuwa. Shout out to Precious. Double digits in scoring, almost double digits in rebounding, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Precious Achiuwa for having a good game, boys.
Yeah, no, I haven't made a graphic about it, and I know we'll talk more about it, but, you know, that was the other storyline, right? Everyone was so focused on RJ and IQ coming back, but, hey, this is both of these guys' chance to go against their old team. And even in that third quarter, we saw Anunoby get his points, right? It was like you saw him, like, flip a switch, like, wait, I know these guys. I know their system. I know how to break this down, right? And you just saw him just start putting the ball up, right? Defensively, it was great.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all of us, and again, yes, it's the Raptors, whatever, but Precious looked good. You know, you were like, oh, shit, all of a sudden this guy was out of nowhere. He's dropping the rebounds. He was looking nice. Same thing. I feel like you saw that moment in him where he was like, wait, I know these guys. I practice with these guys all the time. I know how to handle the business with them. Here's the one thing I'll talk about too, guys, is that first skip Emmanuel quickly took in the first quarter.
Oh,
how
God.
awkward was it seeing our boy do his skip on the garden floor without a Knicks jersey?
Yeah.
That was the one that I was like, oh, that, you know what? I'll miss the skip. I really
that
would,
hurt the most.
Yeah. And then him not trying to cry. You know, everybody does that move, right? No, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh no, he had his eyes closed and head down during most of that video. Like but he even said it before. When they asked him about like coming back. He said, "I just got to try not to cry." You know, like, and that's one thing I loved about IQ. You know, he was sincere from the jump when we got him. You know, he was always sincere, always like showed his emotions, whether he was up or down or like he didn't ever try to like sugarcoat it or change who he was. And I love that. But when it comes to the Precious Achiuwa talk you guys were talking about, you know, one thing I said is like we have to stop holding him to an OG Anunoby standard. Like OG is a like player who helped them win a championship. Like he has that DNA. Like he's played with some of the best. Like he has a significant role. Precious is not that guy that can just fall into a new system and automatically put up numbers, you know. But the other day, when it mattered most, when our backs were up against the wall because we lost our center, you know, to another injury, which we'll talk about later, but we had no choice but for him to show up. And he showed up big, you know, he played really, really well. And so I think that there's promise there, you know, like, do I think that him being a backup center is prohibiting who he really can be? Yes, I really do. Like, I think if he was allowed to play the power forward position that he plays, like off the bench, that we would see that a little more. But he played well, you know, and he played with heart. And that's what I really, really liked. You started to see that come out. And another thing that you have to see is in other games, he didn't get significant minutes with OG, like the one comfortable person that he's already played with in the roster.
That's a good call.
When you look at IQ and Julius and RJ Barrett, they went over to Toronto, and most of their minutes are played together. They know how to rock. They find each other. They so it's easier. Well, when OG was playing with Precious a lot more in this game, they were able to bounce off of each other like they were used to. And you saw OG coming over and like congratulating, Precious when he made a good play and stuff like that, because they already had that chemistry. So I think we might see it a little more over time. I'm not expecting those kind of games over and over again, but I feel like that at least was something promising to see, is that he can perform to a caliber higher than what we had seen so far.
Yeah, let me go ahead and shout out real quick, Heck, and I'll throw it to you. We got NYC B-Ball 08 blessing the channel with a $4.99 super chat, keeping the lights on. Sup, fellas? Thanks for the content. Let's go, Knicks. No, thank you, NYC Ball. Thank you. Appreciate it. Our boy Double A with a $1.99 super chat. My OG nickname the answer. Yeah, Ray, $1.99. Go ahead, Heck.
I was going to say thank you guys for the super chats, because in the words of the wise Eddie Presti, we are a broke channel. Appreciate you guys for the super chats. We have a hard time keeping the lights on over here at Morning Brew Sports. I can't wait to introduce everybody
to the buy my coffee stuff. That's going to be freaking fantastic.
No, but all I just want to say real quick, before we continue, we got over 91 people watching us collectively. 75 people is on YouTube. If you guys are watching us, 85, I should say, on YouTube, guys, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. My guy Nick P, he brought up in the chat, any update on Isaiah Hartenstein and his injury? As of right now, there is no update on Isaiah Hartenstein, but I had this clip and I wanted to play it. This is the scene from Punisher, and it was Taj Gibson's remaining knee cartilage with. Wait. So Taj Gibson is over there.
He buttering it up, bro. He ready.
He got his phone. He got his phone ready to go. But as of right now, there is no update on Isaiah Hartenstein and his ankle injury. I think the Knicks, they have to be on the phones. They got to be on the phone. Isaiah Hartenstein, he was amazing in the absence of Mitchell Robinson, but we have no one to step up in the absence of Isaiah Hartenstein. Yes, Precious Achiuwa had a good game against the Raptors, but Precious Achiuwa is not a backup setter. He's a backup power forward, and for that reason and that reason alone. So hopefully Isaiah Hartenstein, I wish him a speedy recovery. I'm not sure if he'll be ready for tomorrow's game against Brooklyn, but the good thing to know about it, who will be ready who will be ready tomorrow? Taj Gibson, because he lives in New York City. So Taj Gibson will be ready if Hartenstein will be going down. So just pay attention to your phones over the next 24 hours. We should get some news when it comes to Hartenstein. My guy Jammin' Jet said no leaks. Yeah, no leaks over here.
See, I'm like, honestly, this is one of those things where it is kind of terrifying. Like, it is. I don't think the iHeart injury is going to be as big of an issue, but we don't know. Like, we don't know, and the lack of knowing what's going to happen, because we've seen our, injury history take a turn against us. CP, locked and loaded, ready to go.
Lock them up, CP.
Paintbrushes and all. Let's go. Gonna have a Wacom tablet in one hand and a basketball in the other. Try to create baskets. But anyway,
top 20.
Yeah, exactly.
DSJ, $2 super chat. Phil Porto uses super chat money to buy more hats. Cha-ching.
Yeah, I'll let you know when that happens, Papa. Anyway, but it is concerning. And for a while, there was a lot of talks where we were like, okay, we may need to look into a backup center, if Mitchell Robinson's not coming back. Well, now we don't have either one of them, so we might need to be looking for a backup center just to have a starting center, if Isaiah Hartenstein is gone for a few games. And that's why at first I wasn't really too hung up on the Daniel Gafford, talks about a month ago. But now the Daniel Gafford ones make sense, Hector was on that board. But a guy that, averages 10 points a game, 68% shooting, can play the center. Like, if we bring him in and then we just have those resources. But now 2 centers injured is very concerning, especially because iHeart was a major part of us seeing that offense move ever since the OG trade.
Yeah, and in the absence of Mitchell Robinson, right? When Mitchell Robinson was in the starting lineup, the New York Knicks, we were 29th in the league when it came to the free throws, right? Our free throw percentage, we was 29th. Since Isaiah Hartenstein has been inserted into that starting lineup, we have jumped from 29th to around the 15th or 16th in the league. So that's a big part about it as well. We've seen it last year in the postseason. They started doing Hack-a-Mitch. They was doing in the early part of the season. So Isaiah Hartenstein, the absence of Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be felt if he's out for a couple of games, especially since the backup to the backup, it's a guy, Precious Achiuwa, who's not a real backup center. I'm not sure if Jericho Sims is in the doghouse of Tom Thibodeau. I'm not sure what Sims have done to be put in the doghouse, but I'm not sure the Knicks have any faith when it comes to Jericho Sims. Last year, when Mitchell Robinson was out for extended period of time, the starting center was Jericho Sims. This year, this time around, it's been Isaiah Hartenstein and Jericho Sims. He's been a ghost. He's been Patrick Swayze in the movie Ghost. If you get the reference, you get the reference.
I mean,
Yeah,
you guys,
one thing I'll say,
do we see Sims starting tomorrow? With the if iHeart's out, I mean, that's the play. You
what else do we got?
right?
Fournier? What do we got?
That's what I'm
Fournier
saying.
playing the five? Like, we have no choice.
Next man up kind of deal.
Yeah.
But you're not going to replace what iHeart's been doing, right? I mean, you can hope that Sims can hold it down, but we still know he's wet behind the ears. I just don't see how you replace what iHeart has been doing. But
what you got out of
next man up mentality, right?
iHeart has been a godsend, right? Yeah. You know, what we have been getting out of Isaiah Hartenstein, nobody expected that, right? So if we was to get someone else like Jericho Sims stepping up to do what Isaiah Hartenstein's been doing, the Knicks need to play the lotto numbers, because that's some luck right there. If you get Jericho Sims to step up and play the same way Isaiah Hartenstein was, I definitely do not see it. But the team, it's all going to depend how bad this injury is going to be. If it's just a minor sprain, copy, he's out for a couple of games, 3 games max, right? But if it's a major injury, they got to start working the phone lines, right? And I think this is a perfect segue into the trade conversations, because you've seen it over the weekend. Woj and everybody else. Go ahead, Phil. You got that finger up, the mighty finger. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing before we moved into the trade conversations.
Go ahead, bro.
You pointed out the field, the free throw percentage. One thing I also want to say is, shortly after that time where Mitch got out, we also then did the OG trade shortly after. And one thing you saw in that game, as much as we liked him as a player, Clyde talked about it. Look how many free throws RJ Barrett missed that actually helped Toronto fall out of that game. Like, RJ missed almost half his free throws that game. And that was something we saw in the Knicks as well, was that he would have games where his free throws were at 80%. And then as the season continued to go, it started being more inconsistent. And so that also hurt our free throw numbers too, was having that inconsistency there as well. OG, on the other hand, you know, when OG misses a free throw, all of us are like, what the hell just happened? Like, why did that happen? You know, so, you know, those two things played a huge factor. But yes, you know, like, Sims is our only option if iHeart is out. Like, unless we make that trade, Sims is our only option. Like, we can't bring Fournier in to play the 5. Like, we can't.
Just to have context to the numbers, RJ Barrett was 3 of 9 from the free throw line, mixed 6 free throws. He took the most free throws out of his team, and he missed the most free throws. 6 free throws was missed and left at the foul stripe. And yeah, Phil, you hit it right on the head. Even though RJ Barrett was having an amazing season this year, especially from the free throw line, it just, you know, it cost us a lot of games last year and this year as well when it comes to his percentage at the free throw line. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Like CP the artist said, if you guys can, smack that like button.
I see we got Wesley Robinson in the building.
I'm checking in from Strong Island, New York. I want DeJounte or DeMar DeRozan. Wesley, it is a great segue into the trade conversations, because if you guys seen over the weekend, Woj put it out there that the New York Knicks, they're looking to upgrade their team via the veteran route. It looks like the youth movement is over at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks, they have their eyes on Terry Rozier, Malcolm Brogdon, right? They have their eyes on still DeJounte Murray, right? And former Knick Alec Burks. Fellas, What's your guys' thoughts about the trade routes? Phil, I know Terry Rozier, it's a guy that you wanted the Knicks to go after for a while. What happened, Sos?
Oh, no, I was going to say I'll let Phil go on that. But shout out to Valentina the Chihuahua. Who else drops a $1 super chat? Thanks, little Chihuahua. Appreciate it. You see the little Chihuahua right there?
You got Phil and Pedro going hard for Terry Rozier over the past couple of weeks. But Phil, I'll let you start off the conversation. What's your thoughts when it comes to trade situations with our New York Knickerbockers?
Yeah, I think it's funny that people are like, wait a minute, we're going to go the vet route? Of course we are. Like, who is our coach and who is our front office? Like, why does this surprise people? Of course we're going to go the veteran route. That's what we do. Like, that's what the Knicks do. And honestly, like, if we're not trading for a superstar, there's really no reason to disrupt the starting lineup unless it's for a player that moves us to that position. You know, like, the starting lineup is working well. Unless we add something like a DeJounte Murray into the starting lineup, I feel like everything else should be pieces that we look for off the bench. So when we talked a few months ago, actually, and like we were talking possible trades, and I said Terry Rozier, and Jerry was like, "Huh, I never thought of that." You're like, "That's a great fit." Like, a lot of people have pushed back on it, and now I'm seeing so many people that push back on it, being like, "Let's get Scary Terry," because I think the idea of a player like Scary Terry who can facilitate, but who can get buckets, that's what we need right now. Is a bucket getter, especially a bucket getter off the bench. You have a guy in Scary Terry who has never been able to be that guy on a team. This could be the time to make him that most elite sixth man that you've ever seen, like in a Knick uniform. Like, he could be the kind of powerful sixth man that J.R. Smith was back in the day. Like, that kind of a sixth man, that kind of a guy that can just score and facilitate and give us buckets. But what I also like about him is he doesn't have to be the only move. Like, if we go too big, we can only make one move, you know? Like, Scary Terry is not that guy. So I know a lot of people talk about Burks. I'm fine with Burks if it's in conjunction with something. I don't just want Burks and us be like, oh, Eastern Conference Finals bound, we picked up Alec Burks. Like, I don't see that happening. But yeah, I'm first on the Scary Terry train, because I really don't see us getting DeJounte Murray. As much as people want it, as much as it would be a great, great fit, I don't see it happening. I don't see us being able to give enough of what the Hawks are wanting now, because you see how he's been game closer after game closer after great game after great game.
He had what, 2 of the last 4 games he hit the clutch closing for him.
Exactly.
So of course, right when his value is right there, just going higher and higher.
So the Knicks, I think the Knicks waited a little too long to try and pull the trigger on the DeJounte thing, and now he's building up his value. So yeah, get me Scary Terry.
Shout out to Blood of the Panther, the moderator of all moderators, helping us keep the lights on with the $5 super chat. I like this one. This one says, subscribe and hit the like and notification bell. Don't be afraid to send a super chat either. Man, I love you. Thanks, Blood. Appreciate you, bro.
I'm gonna give my take when it comes to the trades, but before I do, I want to shout out the chat. Right, we got D Nice in the building, we got Breezy in the building. D Nice, I agree with you right here. D Nice 77 says it's poor asset management to hold on to Grimes, to hold Grimes out of the Spider trade, and then you trade him for C-level players. Absolutely, and that's why when I saw D Nice put this in the chat, I wanted to highlight this and give my take. Right, when you look at the candidates that are out there, you said what you said about DeJounte Murray. You brought up Terry Rozier. We got Malcolm Brogdon out there. We got Alex Burke out there as well. Bruce Brown, who was just traded to the Raptors, is a possibility as well. When you look at the players that I just mentioned, if I'm giving up a young asset in Quentin Grimes, if I'm giving up an asset in Evan Fournier's expiring contract, if I'm giving up first-round picks, the New York Knicks, we got 8 first-round picks over the next several years, 2 of them being protected picks that we're not sure if they're going to convert. If I'm giving up what I just said, and Fournier and Grimes and a first-round pick, unprotected or protected, regardless, if I'm giving that up, there's only one player I want back in return, and that's DeJounte Murray. It's not Terry Rozier. It's not Malcolm Brogdon. It's not Trey Burke. It's not Bruce Brown. If I have to give up a first-round pick and a young asset like a Quentin Grimes, I want DeJounte Murray in return. Now, you know, my guy Eddie Presti, shout out to Eddie when he was on the show on Friday. He brought up a nice trade proposal with the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks, and a trade that we get back DeJounte, Clint Capella, and AJ Griffin. I think the AJ Griffin is not realistic because if Atlanta is trying to rebuild, they're going to want to hold on to AJ Griffin. He's a 20-year-old small forward and a shooting guard. They're going to want to hold on to him, right? So realistically, if we could get DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella, and we give up Mitchell Robinson, Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, and some first-round picks, I'll be more willing to do that than to give up a first-round pick for a guy in Terry Rozier, who I'm not sure is a Tom Thibodeau type of player because he doesn't play defense like Tom Thibodeau likes to play defense. If it's Bruce Brown, I like Bruce Brown. I'm not sure if he's worth giving up a first-round pick for. That's just me personally. If I have to give up the assets that I just mentioned, give me Clint Capella, give me DeJounte Murray. Point blank, period. Next offseason, you have a contract in Clint Capella that's over $20 million. You got a nice young asset in DeJounte Murray to use in a trade if you're trying to get that superstar. That's just me personally, fellas. What's your thoughts?
Well, actually, Nick of Time, what up to our fam in the building, Nick of Time
KOT,
show? But
what it do?
I'm right there with KOT. I don't believe Grimes will be involved for any trades that includes a backup. Right. But I also agree with the comment you just had up there. You know, it is, not a good look on the front office. You held Grimes back. Right. But let's be real. They fell for a guy that showed up in the playoffs. Right. We all can't forget that moment. Right. The knee and the steal and the play. And, they betted on having Grimes and he regressed. Right. They took a risk that didn't work out. And now we're going to sit here forever and be like, how did we hold Grimes and not give him up for Spider? I agree with everybody when it comes to the Grimes thing. Any trade right now that involves Grimes with a backup, we look stupid and it shouldn't be done. But at the same time, I always, I talk to you and Phil all the time, right? And what do I say? It's always crazy to me with the trades because if we're sitting here shitting on the guy and we're sitting here being like, yo, he's doo-doo, it's not working, how can we not expect other fan bases or other front offices to see it that way too? Thanks. Grimes has a future. Maybe someone can do something with him. I just don't see him being, I'm right there with the KOT show. I don't see him being thrown in for a backup.
Not for a backup. I just want to take a quick pause real quick, guys. It's 11:30. We got over 150 people in the building watching us. If you guys can, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. We are sitting at 2919 on the subscribes, on our way to 3,000. We're literally right there. We're just 81 subscribers away.
We said we're going to try to do it before February, right? We got a couple days.
January 22nd. This is the last week. Make sure you guys smack that like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you drink your water. I'm a little bit thirsty after my last take. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, like they said, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Help us hit that 3,000 today. Forget the end of the month. Help us freaking get it today. Hit a retweet. It doesn't hurt that much. We have a little thing on our page where it's a little subscribe announcement. Hit the retweet on that. Get people over here.
Yeah, but anyway, and if you have other friends that have cool names like Cheesy Soul Cakes, invite them. We want cool names to pop up on the screen. Hello, Cheesy Soul Cakes.
I could take some cheesecake.
When it comes to these trades thing, one thing I want to say is that's what we do, though. Unfortunately, like we do good things, but then it feels like we cancel those things by doing other things that we shouldn't. Like getting the OG trade was a great move by the front office, but we tend to always allow our players to get devalued. Like, how many times was it said when we realized that it was no longer an Obi Toppin kind of team that Julius Randle became this all-star and that Obi Toppin wasn't really going to be of value to this New York Knicks team because we are building on Julius Randle? That would have been the time to start looking and seeing, okay, we have an eighth pick in the first round and we're no longer going to go that direction. Let's start moving him now. What do? We see the minutes go down. We see the, time of, possession go down. We see this go down. We see that go down. And then we end up trading him. Evan Fournier. Okay, it's not going to be a good fit. At that time, we still saw decent numbers from Evan, shooting. It just wasn't working with our squad anymore. Why not move that contract then, or start to at least look to move that contract? Same thing with Grimes. When we realized that it wasn't going to happen, why do we wait till a player's in a slump to then start making them available? Of course, if last year he was untouchable and now we're like, hey, y'all got some peanuts and Bruce Brown available? Like, give us a signed Vanilla Ice CD and your backup. Like, of course,
Did he go
teams
with the
are gonna
Vanilla
like,
Ice CD?
yeah,
Heck yeah.
like it's just
That's a
insane.
throwback.
Yeah, it's horrible. But I saw some people shout out to Knicks 100. He's been saying it that Herb Jones is available. Herbert Jones is a good player. 10.7 points, 3.6 rebounds, 48% from shooting. Yes, these are the kind of pieces we need to start looking at. Is the pieces that are going to complement our second lineup, because if you look at that game, I don't want many things that can disrupt those kind of games from Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson had a 38 piece, and it wasn't like a ball hogging 38 piece. Like, he also had, 9 assists. And so, these are the kind of games we want to keep seeing from Jalen Brunson. So if you're going to get someone that needs the ball in their hand, it has to be an elite kind of player like DeJounte Murray that can still have a point guard work well off ball. You don't want a player that is so ball dominant that they don't work well with their point guard or, those around them. We've seen DeJounte can do that. I see these Bruce Brown talks, and I can't really rock with the Bruce Brown talk.
But Bruce, he get his best sales pitch, Phil.
Bro,
I'm a dog. I can do just about whatever Tibbs needs. I play extremely hard on both ends. Type of player he likes. Every time we play Tibbs, I go up and shake his hand because I want the hell out of Toronto. Oh, wait, that's what I said. Because he's done nothing but respect. I love New York. Like, that man literally gave his best sales pitch, bro.
And it's known, Phil, when I know you don't like the Bruce Brown thing, right? I'm not a big component. I'm not a big I'm not over here cheerleading for Bruce Brown to be with the Knicks, right? But if you know the type of players that Tom Thibodeau likes, that Tom Thibodeau covers, if you look at it, Quentin Grimes, we didn't trade Quentin Grimes because Tom Thibodeau likes Quentin Grimes. He's that type of guy. He's a Tom Thibodeau guy. We still have Deuce McBride because he's a Tom Thibodeau guy. The rumors about Alec Burks, I think they're out there because Tom Thibodeau really likes Alec Burks. And when it comes to Bruce Brown, when Bruce Brown was in college, Tom Thibodeau was at his games. He was a big fan of Bruce Brown, of his gameplay, of his style of play. And if we had to put money down on who we could see the Knicks trading for, we already made a trade with Toronto this year, so we know it's possible to trade with Toronto, right? And when you look at the guys, Alec Burks and Bruce Brown are both guys that Tom Thibodeau really likes. And when Tom Thibodeau has a player he really likes, he's going to try to go out there and get him, and he's going to try to run him into the ground. So that's why I'm saying the Bruce Brown thing, it may be more real than what you want to believe in it.
But
Phil,
here's the thing.
Before you go off, Phil, because I know you got more on that. Shout out to Smooth is in the building. What it do, Smooth?
What it do?
I love how, Knicks and I said, Cat's dying to be here. We got Merc So Saucy in the building. JJ said, that's got to be tampering. Knicks and I said, bro was pitching crazy. Cheesy Soul Cakes. He put his resume on live. I also want to shout out.
He gave his LinkedIn account. That's what he did to the MSG network.
I also want to shout out our boy Ron in the building, the smoothest R&B voice in all of the YouTube Knicks fan base. Still Knicks fans, go check them out. Saturday's episode was dope, Ron. Appreciate you.
And like Merc So Saucy just brought up in the chat, CT Pittman, salute Morning Brew crew. I just know we have to make a move. The minutes allocation right now is nasty work, CT Pittman. You hit it right on the head. But Merc So Saucy just said, I'm sorry to say this, but Murray, he ain't going anywhere. With Trey injured, he ain't going anywhere. And Trey Young is out with a concussion. Thank you, Merc So Saucy. Listen, if I'm Atlanta, you in a triangle in the road. You in a fork in the road, right? It's who do you want to go with, DeJounte Murray or Trey Young? I think Atlanta, whatever happens, Atlanta, I don't think will ever move off of Trey Young. I don't think they'll ever try to trade him, anything like that, because he is the leftover of them. Possibly they could have had Luka Doncic, but they traded that pick for Trey Young, and I don't think that organization wants to admit that they were wrong. So they're gonna hold on to Trey Young as long as they can. When it comes to DeJounte Murray, he is a solid player. I don't think you get the best version of DeJounte Murray playing next to Trey Young, right? And where Atlanta is at right now in the tax threshold, when DeJounte Murray, when his contract extension goes into effect next season, they're gonna have to pay that penalty. And we know Atlanta, they're not trying to pay that penalty. So Murray may be out just because Atlanta, they're in a weird situation right now.
180 people in the building. If you haven't yet, guys, smash the like, hit the subscribe, help the boys out. Supposedly the little likies get us in front of more people, you know, all that. Just smack it.
Anyway,
we got 182. Look, the Nick of Time show just said with Trey out, they should just tank and trade DeJounte. They ain't going nowhere. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right,
go ahead, Phil. Sorry about that.
So real quick, no, it's fine. So there is no hate towards Bruce Brown. Matter of fact, if you look back in the Knicks nightcap when we were talking about, you know, trades and stuff like that over the summer, I said Bruce Brown is available and we're going to have an interview with him. We need to not screw this up, because I felt like he was a good fit coming off that Denver, lineup, and he played great in Denver. The problem is that we've constructed our team around 6'2" to 6'4" players that are the same prototype over and over again. So when we signed Josh Hart to the extension and we signed Dante DiVincenzo, like, we no longer need a Bruce Brown. Like, because at the end of the day, people have said it, Bruce Brown is very similar to Josh Hart. Actually, his numbers are better than Josh Hart's numbers. Like, they just are. You know, Josh Hart averages about 7 points per game. He averages about 12. Josh beats him by like 1.5 when it comes to rebounds. But everything else, you know, Bruce Brown is of a higher caliber offensive player and defensive player. However, we're not moving on from Josh Hart. I know that for a fact. Like, there's no way we are taking away the token boys' best friends. It's not happening. We brought them here for that. They are staying. So a Bruce Brown is just redundant. And that was what we just wanted to get out of, right? With the OG trade was the redundancy. We wanted to get out of the redundancy that we had in the starting lineup. And now we're going to trade for redundancy in the bench players. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. We still need length and we still need bucket getters. Like, look at an offensive, like, dip that we took after trading IQ and RJ no longer playing with that second unit. So you think a 12-point a game scorer is actually going to make us that much better? No, because there's games that Grimes has had 18, 19, and we're still struggling offensively off the bench. We need an actual scorer, an actual facilitator, and Bruce Brown is not that. If he was that, and I think that he did take a dip from his days in Denver, even though it wasn't like far removed, the Pacers would not have moved on from him that quickly if he was taking them to that next level. So as much as I like Bruce Brown as a player, he is not a good fit for us right now. We need scorers and we need length. We need a backup center and we need a facilitator when it comes to our bench.
So Phil and Heck, and for the chat as well, and then Heck, I'll throw it back to you. I read this article this morning, so I'll put it out there. It's on postingandtoasting.com. They put out New York is focused on bolstering the second unit, not landing a superstar before the summer. Right? We're talking Brown. That's one on there. Then you've got Jordan Clarkson, you got Malcolm Brogdon, and you got Daniel Gafford. Those are the ones that they are literally saying are the main focuses we're on. Do you buy that?
I would say as of right now, right? Because maybe the DeJounte Murray, I feel the Knicks, they're trying to, and if you look at what Woj has put out there, they're trying to shoot for their superstar next offseason. Right, this offseason coming up is when the New York Knicks are going to try to shoot for their superstar. So they're going to try to hold on as they're going to try to hold on to as many first-round picks as possible. Like I said earlier, the Knicks, they have 8 first-round picks over the next several years. 2 of them are protected. So to get that big-time superstar, you would think it's going to cost you about 5 to 6 first-round picks. So that means the Knicks possibly they have 1 to 2 first-round picks to mess around with. Right. So if you look at that list, I like everyone that's on that list. I like Clarkson. I like Malcolm Brogdon. I like Daniel Gafford. I like everybody that's on that list. DeJounte Murray, like I said, he may be too expensive right now for the New York Knicks. If I'm the Knicks, I'm calling up Chicago and I'm trying to get DeMar DeRozan and I'm trying to get Andre Drummond. And I want them specifically to come off the bench. I'm gonna try to convince DeMar DeRozan as much as I can because I like the starting unit as it is right now. I like Hartenstein, I like Randle, I like OG, I like shout out to On Dios, I like of course the big Ragu and Jalen Brunson. I like them in the starting unit. Having DeMar DeRozan come off the bench to be that ISO player who can score with the best of them, off of the bench with Andre Drummond to be that backup center until Mitchell Robinson comes back. To me, I think that's the realistic take. You won't have to give up as many first-round picks as it's going to cost you when it comes to Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson, he may cost you several first-round picks because of Danny Ainge. DeMar DeRozan on an expiring contract, Andre Drummond on an expiring contract. It may just cost you Quentin Grimes and a first-round pick.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
I'll throw it to you, Phil, real quick. I saw we got a couple more people that jumped in. I just want to shout out a couple guys. Foxy is in the building.
Foxy.
Appreciate you, Foxy. I saw we got Our Future Media was popping in there. I know I hollered out our boy Smooth. He got a question there. We'll address that in a little bit too. Go ahead, Phil. TC.
Oh wait, hold on. I want
H Money 821. Go ahead, bro.
I had a second part to my take that I just want to put. I'll give it to you real quick, right? Because I know a lot of people saying that we need a facilitator to come off of the bench. If we get DeMar DeRozan, who is a solid ISO player, and have him coming off of the bench with Deuce McBride being that defensive minded player coming off of the bench as well, I think we'll be okay not having that facilitator because you have DeMar DeRozan to be that ISO player coming off of the bench. That's the last thing I wanted to add when it comes to that. Go ahead, Phil.
No, that was a good take. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, a player that we would want as opposed to a player that's going to fit the system is a completely different thing. Like my number one target, DeJounte Murray. Like at this point, I want DeJounte Murray, but I don't feel like that's going to happen right now. And that's the only way I would disrupt the starting lineup is a player like DeJounte Murray. If you get somebody else that we're talking about and you put them in the starting lineup, I think it screws things up way too much. And we worked way too hard to get this starting lineup to actually flow the way that it's flowing, that I don't want to take the risk of adding to that. Out of that list, Jordan Clarkson would be my number one. But like Hector said, there's no way Danny Ainge is not taking our freaking picks, our young players, Jalen Brunson's firstborn. Like he's taking it all for whatever trade that we do. That's just what Danny Ainge does. Like if Tibbs is ever going to get a wife, he's going to have that in the contract to rob Tibbs of that. Like there's nothing that Danny Ainge won't take from us. So I don't see that happening. I would go with a center if iHeart is injured. And so I think a Gafford type player would be great. And then I would go, I would love DeMar DeRozan. And I don't know how that works though. Like I know he wants to win, but I don't know if he wants to win enough to play the way that he plays as a sixth man. I think he should because he hasn't been able to win, what he wants to win, not being a sixth man. But we got to figure something out. Danny Ainge is not going to let us get exactly what we want. But a lot of these other players make sense if we're doing two moves in our bench. Just one player on the bench isn't going to get us to where we need to go. Like, it's just not. Like, and so if I have to give away picks for role players in any way, shape, or form, I need it to be two that are going to help us get to the next spot. Because just bringing like one of these guys into our lineup isn't going to get us to the next part in the playoffs, in my opinion.
I just one second.
TC,
we got over.
TC Steels is the best, ahead. Man. I like his take.
Knicks just signed Celso Porto. He definitely would be the spark. We got over 200 people in the building, 197 watching us on YouTube. We are at 92 likes. If you guys can smack that like button, let's run up the likes. Let's get the stream to at least 150 for today. And as of right now, we are sitting at 2,926 subscribers. Guys, we are on our way to 3,000. We are so close. If you're watching us, if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button for your boys. I want to shout out the chat. My guy Shy Powers is in the building.
Hey, what up, Shy?
Our Future Media is in the building. Salute to you, my guy. Pedro Rivera again is in the building. Knicks 100, CT Pittman, Warren Franklin is in the building. Salute to you, my guy. Delano Still Jr. I'm laughing over here. He said, appreciate that take, but I'm going the cheap route and signing Alonzo Iso Trier. If you want isolation wing scoring, then Alonzo Trier is your guy. Boys, how did I get stuck down? I got stuck going down a rabbit hole of Alonzo Trier highlights this weekend. I have no idea how, and I don't know idea how DSJ even knew that, but I was going down the rabbit hole watching my ISO Zoe highlight reels when he was with the Knicks this weekend.
So before we promote something, all right, I see a few people in the chat bringing up the name Mo Bamba. Let me tell you this.
Shout out ISO Zoe.
No Mo Bamba at all. I spent a whole season since I live in Florida going to games, watching Mo Bamba be the worst deer in the headlights big man I've ever seen in my life. Like, that kid is good for one thing, and that is being a poster to the other team's center. That is what Mo Bamba does. Mo Bamba is a big for nothing. Like, you ever had that kid in like high school or middle school where they were like muscular, but they were soft as can be, and you knew that they would never do anything? Like, that's what Mo Bamba does. He is a big guy who will do nothing. Mo Bamba is, he's a sucker. Like, when it comes to playing basketball, he is not good. He's just not. That's why Orlando pretty much let him go for nothing. That's why he pretty much never plays wherever he goes. He is not a good player. So no Bamba at all.
Hey, that song though, that song slaps though. That Mo Bamba song slaps though. That's the one thing I'm gonna say. That song is fire. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead, So I know we're about to promote something, but before we do that again, we have over 200 people in the building. 199. I like to round up. 200 people are watching us on YouTube. Please, if you guys can't smack that like button, go ahead. So plug what you got to plug.
Oh, we're gonna plug it now? All right, let's do this.
Plug it now.
So I was gonna do this whole speech thing and kind of talk to the community, but it was easier to put it on video. Check this out, guys. You doing? What up, Brew Crew chat fam? So check it out. We've been banging our heads against the wall nonstop for months. We've been offered all kinds of affiliates that we're able to bring to you, and we get a little percentage just for convincing you that you should own this product. We love it too, but that's not us, and you guys know that. We love to work and earn every single super chat that comes our way, but we're tired of getting super chats and then having to give such a big percentage to YouTube. So we now have what's called buymeacoffee.com. Here, you can drop a little tips by buying us a coffee. It's really great. But the bigger picture is we want to build in 2024 with you, alongside you, and show you where every single penny goes. We're not a funded company. We're not backed. We don't have these big investors. And why would we want that? Just so we can sit here and convince you to buy crap you don't need. So we made it easy. You get to see every single thing we're trying to achieve. Not what we're trying to make financially, but what events we're trying to bring to you and what new shows are we trying to launch. So now you can actually play a part in helping the Brew Crew go even further in 2024. You helped us hit almost 3K subscribers in under 10 months, and we can't even imagine how far you guys will take us this year in 2024. So if it's something you're down with, it should be popping up right about now, right? Bam, there it is. Check it out. Help us out. And we look forward to growing and building alongside the Brew Crew chat fam in 2024. Yeah, buddy. So, guys, it's simple. You heard the video. We didn't want to take any of these affiliates and just be like, hey, you know what? Go scape yourself. Or, hey, guys, go do this. And you get 5% off. And we don't want to be that channel. So if people want to support, great. We want the community to help us get there. We don't want to make those decisions. We've been offered so many opportunities for in real life events. So, guys, the link is in the chat. It's in the description. It's Buy My Coffee. It's so simple. Like, literally, look. You go here and you can buy a coffee, literally a coffee. If that's not on freaking brand for the Morning Brew Sports, I don't know what else is, but we also have a roadmap in there. So you guys can see every marker we hit to bring that spring training event, to bring the 2 events we're planning in New York, to see the new shows we're launching. Like, look, I'll give you guys a little, I know we didn't plan on giving some spoilers, but yes, we do have a new Mets show coming with some top people. Yes, we do have some special guests that are coming on for another channel. So we do have about 3 or 4 shows that we're trying to launch here in the next 30 to 60 days for the channel. So again, we appreciate you guys all the time. You already show us love with the super chats. Let's not give YouTube the money. Check that stuff out. And let's get back to the conversation. Take it away, Phil. Bam. We are looking for too many old ass superstars. I'll take 4 first-round picks. Grimes, Fournier, send both to OKC for Jalen Williams, the 6'5" point shooting guard with handles and 3 and D.
That's a dream. That's a dream.
God. I would love Jalen Williams. I think he is special. I think that young kid, especially because OKC, they have so much young talent over there. Jalen Williams, I think is going to be really special. That's a great one from Jay Boogie. But like Phil said, I think that OKC is not letting that young man go.
Yeah, that's a pipe dream. And like Jigga was saying, you know, we have a lot of pipe dreams as well here at the Morning Brew Sports. And so we do have some events that we're really trying to plan, especially when it comes playoff time. We got some big events that we're trying to work on. But like anything, big events take time to plan. Big events take money to pull off. And this is something that we're doing out of love. I wish I had a buymeasnapback.com website.
DSJ said he just made a buymeasnapback.com and Heck made a buymeapokemon.com.
I wish.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are not real sites. Do not go there. Okay.
When it comes to the playoffs, guarantee you that we will be bringing you top-notch content. We went like semi-viral. It was a little viral, right? Last year, Knicks versus the Cavs. You know, we had some video that went viral, and people try to recreate it and still our flavors. But yeah, you guys are gonna want to tune in. We're gonna have a lot of great content coming the rest of the year. But let's go back, right? Because we did have a game, and Jalen Brunson did play well. And I know you fellas, you wanted to talk about it. Phil just left when I brought up Jalen Brunson, but go ahead, Sos. I know you wanted to talk about Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, and Quentin Grimes from the last game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we touched on Brunson a little bit, but how is it that people are still sitting there saying we don't have a star? How are people still sitting there and saying we don't have what I feel is one of the top 3 point guards in all the NBA? Like, when does the respect? We don't have to keep pitching everybody. Go vote. It's over. The vote's done. We know the conversation's there. I know most of you've seen all the shit Jerry's been going back and forth on social about how it's a popularity test. You know, and it's like, come on. Why is JB not getting the respect? Even Julius. Why are these big media networks never covering us, even after that last game? So I don't know. I feel maybe we should talk about the disrespect that Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle get.
Yep.
I want to see what the chat has to say. Go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Think what you want about our roster. Think about what you want about our team. But the only people that are not giving Jalen Brunson his flowers are people that are just bitter at life and they can't celebrate anything, or people that just do not watch actual basketball and they just go off of like preconceived notions of hating the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson is a baller. Jalen Brunson has the ability to do what a lot of other point guards cannot do. Especially now, you see the takes of him not being a facilitator. He's able to now dish. He's getting the 9 to 12 assists per game that we, you know, wanted in the beginning of the season. You're not seeing the 4 assists per game anymore. You're seeing this kid actually play and actually perform. And yes, I understand he's small thing. And in 7 games, it might be hard for him to, like, game after game after game in the playoffs, shoot over people. But we've seen him do it night after night in the season, you know? So yes, getting someone that can help him would be great, but you can't take away anything that this kid is doing. Like, he is an amazing basketball player and he's willing to give everything. Like, that's one thing you cannot take away from him. He sacrifices his body. He sacrifices his health. Like, even when he was holding and clinching his knee and his ankle in that last game, what was he doing? Getting up and continuing to play. And he is just that good. So this kid is, to me, one of the best things the New York Knicks have done in years. Like, this is genius. Like, I'm thankful for Jalen Brunson. I'm thankful for what he contributes to our team. I feel like he makes the players around him better, and I'm thankful for him. You know, that was a great, great game that we saw. I do want to say one thing real quick. I just saw it online. Shout out to my guy Deej for reposting this from Dunk Central. Atlanta is trying to find a third team to take on D'Angelo Russell in order to complete their DeJounte Murray trade with the Lakers. It's centered around
the Lakers.
Yep, it's centered around D'Angelo Russell, a 2029 first-round draft pick, and a pick swap, I am told. That the holdup was Atlanta wanted to find a third team for D'Angelo Russell. So Lakers are trying to nail down a way to get DeJounte Murray.
How is that a better trade than Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, and a protected first-round pick from the? How is that a better trade? How is that a better trade?
What LeBron wants, LeBron gets. Simple.
You know
all
what?
right. That's it. If any player sits there and says, I want to go to the Lakers, LeBron is like, let me see. Yes, approved. And that's it. Lakers is all clutch. Nick said it. Nice. You said it.
Oh my God. CAA versus clutch wars continues. Absolutely, Knicks are nice. I've lost my train of thought. I had something very productive to say, and I read that, and it just literally threw me off. I just want to say we are sitting at 118 likes. We got 181 people in the building. If you guys can, smack the like button, hit the subscribe button. We are sitting at 2,929 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button if you aren't subscribed.
I saved this one. I want to pull it up because, Phil, you didn't realize one time you said Jason Brunson.
Oh.
And then Blood said Phil called him Jason because he's the Red Ranger of the Knicks. I didn't want to put it up while you were talking on your take. I was like,
thank you, Blood of the Panther. You just helped my thought process come back. When it comes to Jalen Brunson, right? I agree with everybody out there who's saying that Jalen Brunson isn't getting the respect that he deserves, because he definitely deserves more respect than what he's getting. Let's take a stroll down memory path when it comes to the Knicks and our franchise. Can you guys name me? And this is a conversation that was going on Twitter last night. But can you fellas name me? Can you guys name me another point guard that the New York Knicks had in their past that was a better scorer than Jalen Brunson? Has there been a better scoring point guard on the New York Knicks that was better than Jalen Brunson when it comes to scoring? Have we ever had one?
I would say the closest as of recent would be Stephon Marbury.
Closest, but probably not better though.
That's what I'm saying.
Probably not
closest,
better, but I'm saying like in that spot, I would say Starbury.
Stephon Marbury is the closest, but I wouldn't say that. Look at what Jalen's been here for a year and a half, going on 2 seasons, right? Look, compare the same time frame Stephon Marbury and Jalen Brunson was. Stephon Marbury wasn't scoring and averaging what Jalen Brunson is averaging right now with the New York Knicks. And again, it hasn't been 2 seasons, right? So when you look at it, right, again, this may be on a reflection on how bad our franchise has been. But when you look at it, Jalen Brunson has been our best scoring point guard in our franchise history. Credit to Walt Clyde Frazier and stuff. He was known as the best defending guard that was out there, especially in our franchise, right? When it comes to scoring, Jalen Brunson is that guy. And he definitely deserves more credit than what he's getting right now. He should be a starter in the All-Star game. If not, he should have been voted. He should be getting voted in.
I want to give a shout out to my guy State, because people were kind of crucifying him on a Twitter space that he did probably like 2.5 weeks ago, where he was saying that he believes that Jalen Brunson should be considered as not just an all-star, but MVP type candidate. And people were crucifying him like, oh, you would put him before Donovan Mitchell as like an MVP type candidate? And he was like, yes. And they were like, what about him versus Jaylen Brown? And he was like, yes. And people started crucifying him. And now you look, SNY has done a thing on, is Jalen Brunson an MVP candidate? All the big ones are now doing, like even CP, the franchise, did something on some channel yesterday talking about, Jalen Brunson MVP candidate, and State even retweeted and said, I wonder where everyone got that notion. So shout out to State, because he was saying that like 2.5 weeks ago before it was cool to say that. But you can't take that away, like regardless of whether you want to give him that or not. Like you can't look at his numbers and the idea of what MVP stands for. MVP is not best scorer or best this or best that. It's the most valuable player. Who brings the most value to their team? You cannot say Jalen Brunson should not be in that category. He gives the most value to the New York Knicks that a lot of other players do not. Like, if you want to talk about Jason Tatum, that's cool, but he's also got Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, and Drew Holiday to help make those stats even better. You can't not give Jalen Brunson his flowers. He deserves them, whether or not he's a top candidate for that, but he still needs to be in those discussions for sure.
Yeah, because like you said, in the NBA, we know the MVP normally goes to the best player on the best team in the league for that season. That's normally how it is when it comes to the MVP. But like you said, the MVP means most valuable player. If you take that player away from that team, is that player a playoff contender? Are they a first, second, third round? Where do they sit if you take that player away from that team? The year that Kobe Bryant was averaging 30 points per game, the Lakers were the eighth seed. You cannot tell me that Kobe Bryant was not the most valuable player that season when he was scoring 30 point plus a game and he got that bum Lakers squad to an eighth seed. So the same thing with Jalen Brunson. Granted, he's most likely not going to get the award, but if you take Jalen Brunson away from this team, are we over 500 this season? No.
No,
Absolutely not. You take Jalen Brunson away from our team last year, are we in the playoffs? Absolutely not.
Nope. Agreed. No. Yeah. I mean, who was it that put in there? The MVP conversation must happen. We saw the shade thrown at Jalen Brunson last year, and here we are seeing it again. And, and of course, people have their opinions on it. You see in the chat, right? This is what happens when it's New York and Leon. You don't get any of the credit and all that stuff. We can agree with some of that as well. But I'm sorry. You have to have the conversation in the league that this man puts the team on his back. This man has elevated Julius Randle as well and made his game better. I'm sorry. Without Jalen Brunson, I'm with you, Heck. We don't see the record that we have right now. No way.
and someone in the chat, I want to bring them up, the man cave, right? And I want to echo what they shout out to the man cave.
Man cave.
I want to echo what they said right now. Knicks fans need to stop complaining about him not being voted in as a starter in the All-Star game, because there are 9 million people in the 5 boroughs, diehard Knicks fans, that didn't vote for him. And the man cave is absolutely right.
He's right. They're not all on Twitter. Everybody thinks Knicks fan base, Heck, is Twitter.
No, they're not. The Knicks fan base is not just Twitter, but they are absolutely right. As much as I want to be frustrated with the ESPNs and the Fox Sports and the FSN, as much as I want to be frustrated at these mainstream outlets, I got to be frustrated at the Knicks fans that didn't vote for Jalen Brunson. Again, you can have all the frustrations for every other source and outlet that I just mentioned. But for you Knicks fans that didn't just pick up your phone, do a few steps to vote in Jalen Brunson, there is a nice place in hell for you guys when you pass away. That's all I'm gonna say.
Welcome to the Knicks Morning Brew, where we're always having positivity.
If anyone from my church, if anyone from my church is watching, I want you to know that I did not say that was in my theological.
There was a nice place in. There was a nice place in hell for you. It has Wi-Fi. You got some bottled waters. You guys will be good. We got over 200 people in the building. If you guys can't smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are sitting at 127 subscribes. I'm late for the 30-minute, roll call. Shout out to Jacob Petruzzi.
Now
60-minute roll call.
60 minutes.
So 127 on the likes. We are sitting at 2,931 on the subs. Go ahead, fellas.
Yeah. And so I want to give another quick update because we talked about it a little bit before. And for me, this kind of changes some stuff. So according to the Stein line, even though the Knicks are likely suitors, the asking price is a first-round pick and a young player for Bruce Brown. So it's, it's one of those things that it would be a Grimes plus a first-round pick type of trade.
For Bruce
and that's
Brown?
a no-go for me. Yeah, they want a first-round pick and a young, promising player. That's not it for me. But what we were talking about, if you look at that game, Jalen Brunson just makes the game easier for certain players. Like if you look at it, like the more and more the defense sees that he's in his bag, the more they're trying to lock him down. You look at it, there was a reason they put RJ Barrett on Jalen Brunson as opposed to Emmanuel Quickly. And it was because of the height. It was because of the trying to use the height deficiency against Jalen Brunson. Like teams are plotting on what to do because they know that Jalen Brunson is a problem. And so I'm going to continue to rock with Jalen Brunson. I rocked my Jalen Brunson jersey the other day, and I'm going to keep rocking it. because he is a true basketball player. He really is. And if you look, they were talking about his commitment, and we've seen the videos of him and his dad. They talked about the stories of him and his mom. Like, he would wake up at like 4, 5 in the morning, have to work out with his mom, go to the gym, play pickup. He was like 10 years old or something like that, playing with the 20-something-year-olds at pickup games at the gym while his mom was working out. And it was like something that he had to do every single day if he wanted to continue to do it with her. And so he's had that work ethic since he was a youngin'. And it comes out every single day on the court. So shout out to him. Shout out for everything he's doing. Like, he makes us better, no doubt.
Shout out to my guy Soulfinger12 in the chat. The slyest man on YouTube. Shout out to Slowfinger, my guy. Salute. 3 capital S's. My guy Jonathan says we are at 132 likes. Hey. Let's try to get up to 150 on the likes. 28 likes away. JJ said RJ was barbecue chicken. My man was barbecue kale out there. But again, shout out to Julius Randle, because did you guys see that when RJ Barrett was on the line and Julius Randle was shouting, "I'm in his head, I'm in his head."
Yeah, but you know what's funny is everybody stops the clip right there. I love that, and then Julius goes on the other side and airballs that 3-pointer. I'm like, come on, man, you could have been. It would have been so good. I saw the vision he had, make it funny, tuck your shit, and then hit that 3. But the airball after, I'm like, Drew, it was good, but you lost a little bit of credit when you airballed that 3. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and Super Argo in the chat says Murray wasn't coming to the Knicks anyway. Rich Paul is his agent and hates the Knicks because of CAA. And, we had word that apparently there was going to be a meeting between Rich Paul and Leon Rose. The sit down. We didn't hear any. When did it happen? Did it happen already? What's the results of it? So the Knicks not getting DeJounte Murray tells me that sit down didn't go as well, or the sit down just didn't even happen.
Well, I think too, from a fan base, we also saw a trade that we didn't think would happen with a team we're in a lawsuit against, right? So it's like, wait a minute, anything is possible, right? So then you started seeing the reports, you're like, well, maybe it's true. But this, I think, really, if this is what you're saying is the asking price for Brown, I'm out. If the Murray thing doesn't happen, you do realize it goes back to everybody going after one guy. And we're going to be back to the rest of the season of one guy that everybody's aiming for in the offseason. We're back to the Spider conversation, aren't we? We're back here.
Yes, but I think when the smoke settles, the trade that makes the most sense, right, from the need that we need. 1, we need a backup center. 2, we need a scorer coming off of the bench. The only trade that makes the most sense is Chicago, DeMar DeRozan and Andre Drummond, because the DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella trade is not happening whatsoever, right? The Jordan Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk, that trade is not happening whatsoever. So the most realistic one is the Drummond and DeMar DeRozan, because when you look at it, it solves both of our needs without having to trade more than what we're willing to trade for, because we want to save our assets for this summer. So if I could call up Chicago and get Andre Drummond and get DeMar DeRozan cheaper than what it's going to cost me to get Jordan Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk or any other trade, I'm gonna go the cheapest route, because the front office is going to want to hold on to at least 5 or 6 of their draft picks if they're going to try to trade for that superstar this offseason.
Yo, if the Lakers get Murray and we throw out, we
I'll be so upset. Fuck you, LeBron. I love you, but I can't stand you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really upset though. Not that we miss on that, but if the backup plan is giving up a Grimes and Fournier at first, and we go after Brown. I understand he gave the best sales pitch. He showed up with his resume. He had his suit on after the game to pitch himself. Okay, his LinkedIn is amazing, but it's not worth giving up Grimes. And what was it, Phil? 2 firsts? Yeah. So they're probably going to they'd want a Fournier Grimes in the first round, right? I don't know.
What can you live with, right? Could you live with Bruce Brown or could you live with Alec Burks? Which one of those could you live with? If the Knicks walk away from this trade deadline and all we get is either Bruce Brown or Alec Burke, it's not sexy. But if you had to choose one, which one would it be?
Honestly,
the cheaper route's going to be Burks.
Yeah,
cheaper.
The cost is the big thing for me, you know, because
I'm polling it. Go ahead, Phil.
the
Put it in the
last
poll.
few games, Burks has been like auditioning for Tom Tibbs to bring him back. Like he's been playing like, "Hey Tibbs, I'm here, baby. I'm here. I still got you." Like
He's
26
averaging over
points.
20 points. Yeah, he's averaging over 20 points in January.
Chat,
Yeah, like
go ahead, Phil. Chat. I put the poll up. I want to see what the chat's feeling, but we
And I
just
think
put it
it's
up
like-
there. Which one is the backup? Burks or
my
Brown?
number could be wrong, but I had seen somewhere where that was like last 3 games, he's like averaging like 26.3 points or something like that. And so he's been balling these last few games. My whole thing with Burks is like, what are we doing? Like, when we bring him back into a rotation with Tibbs, like, is that buddy relationship going to become an issue again? Like, are we going to see Dante DiVincenzo go to the bench after Alec Burks has a few good games? You know, like, what are we going to see happen? You know, I'm scared of that. If Bruce Brown's thing wasn't a young player and picks, and it was like a pick and 2 second-round picks, then Bruce Brown, you know, because I would like the youth, and I would like the fact that he's got the opportunity to play at a championship level last year, and that he brings that experience. But when they start talking about a first-round pick, that is crazy. But one thing that I'm reading a lot on that we have to consider is people are saying that there's a possibility that the Knicks would be that third team that the Lakers are trying to incorporate into it, to send D'Lo to. And the way that it would be packaged would be that Jackson Hayes would be a backup center that would be sent over to us as well. And so we would get the backup that we need in the center, and D'Angelo Russell could come off the bench as, you know, and so I don't know, like that would be a crazy turn of events.
Yo, did you see
What
Smooth?
are we giving?
We need Nerlens Noel for backup center. Bring back
Right?
Jay Burks. Alfred Payton. I mean, that's how it feels. Go ahead, Hector.
Are we getting any draft picks back?
Let's see.
Because if we get back a first round draft pick from the Lakers, if we could get back a first round draft pick, I can live with it. But if we ain't getting back a first round draft pick, you can kick rocks.
Yo, how about the Man Cave says, I think the Knicks will be part of the Lakers Murray trade, and I think AJ Griffin will be coming to the Knicks. I think the Raptors want too much for Brown.
If we could get AJ Griffin, I could live with AJ Griffin. I do not want D'Lo as my backup point guard. I'm sorry. That's another guy that he don't play defense. He doesn't have great stock selection.
It revolves around D'Lo. They're trying to get that third team involved because the Atlanta Hawks don't want to bring in D'Angelo Russell.
I want a first round pick.
First of all, shout out to Nah in the building.
Nah in the chat.
Nah, first time I seen you in the chat, but anytime you come up, I'm gonna pull you up because it's great to be like, Nah said, I don't like this at all. I don't want to be the third team in a trade. I want the trade. Why can't we have nice things? Laugh out loud. Listen, Nah, there's nothing Nah about that. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Again, we're sitting at hold on, I want to just double check on the likes real quick.
Hit the like,
Smacking the like button. We're sitting at 139 likes right now. I do not want, and D'Lo is an expiring contract. I'm not a fan of it. Again, if we could get
us Evan and like a second round pick or something like that, and we get Hayes and D'Angelo on our bench.
If we could get back a first round pick, you sold me. Because we're eating your D'Lo contract that you don't want on your papers.
Yep.
You don't want D'Lo on your books for both teams. You don't want D'Angelo. So if I have to take D'Angelo Russell and I'm giving up an expiring contract, you better give me a first round pick. Is D'Lo expiring or is it a team option for next year? Because we need to have that flexibility when it comes to the payroll during the offseason. We need to have that contract that we're going to try to include in a trade for a superstar.
Phil,
I'm seeing if I find it.
This is frustrating. Folks in the chat, what's the poll at so far? I got 61% is saying Burks, 39% is saying Brown.
You know what? And maybe Cheesy Soul Kicks was right. Maybe I should have put in there, I don't want either as an option. Maybe that would have ran through that percentage. But we got 42 votes so far, 62%.
Oh,
KOT Nick of Time said we are not getting a first round pick. Jesus Christ. Adrian Pagano, let me read the $4.99 from Adrian. I don't know if Murray is a Tibbs guy. He complained on the Spurs to get out. Probably grumbles in Atlanta. Just another we too look at the hold up and getting him. Adrian, shout out to you for your $4.99. Go ahead, Phil.
So,
Appreciate you.
Big kicker. Unfortunately, it looks like it's a player option, not a team option.
Oh, so he'll most likely pick up that player option.
Yep. So, yeah.
All I'm hearing is nobody likes any of the options that are out there.
We got 216 people watching right now on YouTube. If you guys can, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The few of you that are still watching on X, if you could do us a favor, head on over to Twitter, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate that. Shout out to the panel. You guys are crazy lit right now with your guys' takes. So we thank you guys for that.
Anybody like Malcolm Brogdon? I like Malcolm Brogdon.
The chat is throwing it out there like crazy.
I like Malcolm Brogdon. I'd rather Malcolm Brogdon than D'Lo. Please.
Blood said when the Knicks really get serious, it's time to call the Nets. We did it with Toronto. Time to bridge the gap. I see what you.
Cracklenut says, "Where's Eddie? He's stealing a 5-year-old train at the chain at the train station right now." Absolutely. You guys want to throw the link? Jay Boogie just asked for the link. You guys want to throw the link in the chat?
You know what? If you guys are down, I've got a little bit of time. What time is it?
Yeah, we can
let's do an open panel. You know what?
Well, it would have got awkward if you said no after.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest. If it wasn't Jay Boogie that was the first one asking for the link, I might have said no. But I'm never going to say no to Jay Boogie saying he wants to come up. So,
all right. So everybody in the chat, it's simple. We drop the link. It's a full open panel. Come up, give your takes. Tell us how much you hate the Burks and Brown options or how much you love it. Whatever you want. But be respectful. This is a safe place. We're all fans. Nobody's take is better than the other. Respect each other. Give your chance to speak. In other words, don't be a douchebag. Get Jay Boogie up here. I dropped the link in the chat. Shout out to
please respect the terms and services of YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We like the platform we have, and we don't want to get it shut down by YouTube. So let's be respectful.
My guy Nickinator right here. If anyone suggests a reunion with Tim Hardaway Jr., it's an immediate unfollow.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yo, Nickinator, you must have been blocking people left and right last week, bro, because I saw that name popping up on my timeline like crazy. He was
Nickinator,
like, block.
Nickinator, I want you on this open panel. All right. If you didn't have a crazy late night like you normally do, and you say that you walked in the door at like 8 a.m., I want you to click that open link and hop on up with us.
Real quick, while people are hitting the link, shout out to Eddie and Deej, because let me tell y'all.
Yes.
These are two crazy motherfuckers right there. All right. I woke up because there was noise outside from the animals, right? Went outside. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and these dudes are still going nonstop on Twitter Spaces with their Nick at Night thing. If you guys haven't seen their space, join those guys. Talk about the late night crew. Shout out Eddie. Shout out Deej. Y'all killing it. But again, the link is in the chat, guys. Jay Boogie's on his way up. I think we're getting a couple more people back there. All right, go ahead, guys. I'm gonna set up the.
Facts, ally wise. I'm bringing Soul Finger off of the bench 100%. Again, for those of you guys that come up to the open panel, we will bring you up as you appeared in the queue that is down below. Again, please be respectful to one another. We are sitting at, let me just check the likes one time. One more roll call for the likes. 149 likes, 1 like away from 150. If you guys can, smack the like button. Let's get to 150 likes. We are sitting at 2,936 subscribers, 4 away from 2,940, 64 away from 3,000s. Help us get to 3,000s right now. So we got Double A backstage. I'm going to bring up my guy Double A. Double A, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know when you're ready to come up. My guy Double A is ready to come up. Double A, the floor is, oh, he said 1 second. I do apologize. Cracklenut says, who the star that you would put in a great position for title, Mitchell, Towns, and MB? Let's see. Embiid is that guy. I've been saying it. You guys know how much I want Embiid with the Knicks. I'm an Embiid guy. What about you, Phil? If you had your
Out of those three, I'm going Embiid because he brings something different to the table. With Donovan, I feel like it's just going to be scoring, which is great. But what happens when we have another scoring team that we're playing against that has length, that has defense, So for me, Embiid brings a little bit of intimidation in the paint, especially with Mitchell and maybe Hartenstein being out. I feel like he's the one that would be the needle mover out of those three.
Yeah, and I feel when it comes to Embiid, right? You guys heard him when he gave Joker his prayers and saying that Joker is the best player in the league and the true MVP. If Joel Embiid was to come to play for the New York Knicks in New York City in Madison Square Garden, if he was to able to get the Knicks to the finals, the way that will uplift his fandom, his stature in the NBA, that would get him the extra fans to make it solidify that he could be possibly better than Joker if that was to ever happen, right?
Yo, while Double A is getting set up, let me go ahead. I see Jay Boogie's back there. Yo, Jay, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know you ready. The closer is in the building.
Jay
What it
Boogie,
do, Jay
what it
Boog?
do?
What up, baby boy?
Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's, bless, health, happiness to everybody. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. If you didn't have a good weekend for yourself, start yourself off and have a great week. You know what I'm saying? Don't be so upset about Mondays. I don't want to go to work. Be grateful and thankful you got a job to go and go pay these bills. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in this orange and blue. I put that Jalen Williams thing out there because I'm one of the ones right now. I'm over. I don't want to invest in some of these old superstars. I don't want to be the ones to get them their last 4 and 5 year checks. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for some of these young thoroughbreds. That's why I threw Jalen Williams' names out there. And sooner or later, you're going to have to start playing against the new collective bargaining that's coming in. OKC is not going to be able to pay all them guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You still got Giddey. You got Chet over there. They're not going to be able to pay all them guys. So sooner or later, they're going to have to reset one of them guys. I'm not saying that we can get them, but what's wrong with picking up the phone and say, yo, which one of these guys might be available because I know the collective bargaining. Sometimes you just got to check the meter, see what's going on. Check somebody else's temperature. We hot too. We got a hot temperature going on, but somebody might be trying to cool down. So it never bothers you just to check somebody else's temperature, see what they got going on. And a guy like that, man, he's 6'5". He can handle the rock. He got the mid range. He got the tray ball, and he played D. You know what I'm saying? And he can be a point forward or point shooting guard where you can start also move Brunson over. That's what we need. We need a big shooting guard. I don't want to bring a small shooting guard. It's working out with Devo, but I want a big shooting guard that he can go check other guys. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to start checking the meter for some of all these guys. I'm not looking for all these guys that's get ready to start coming available and on their last leg, looking to get 5 years, 100 and something million, all that there. I'm not looking to get these guys. You know what I'm saying? Because sooner or later they're gonna start falling and being over out the way. And if we keep going in the right direction, doing what we're doing, sooner or later we're going to start taking a lot of these guys' spot. I love what we're doing right now. I hear, the DJ Javante, his meter start going up because he hit a couple of baskets, game-winning baskets. His meter is not going up. What it is, Leon Rose is taking too long to pull the plug on some of these guys. And now you got more and more teams coming in, If you're going to pull the plug, you got to pull the plug. You already set your trend. You said, I'm going with the vets. I'm getting these young guys up out of here. So you can best believe Grimes is next to go. And he's getting rid of the young guys. Only one he probably might keep is probably Mitch. Mitch is the longest running dude that's on the Knicks team. He was there even before RJ. Even if he got picked in the same round, he still was picked before. You know what I'm saying? He's the longest running guy on this New York Knicks team. So sooner or later, you're going to have to keep somebody that's already been here. But Leon need to go ahead and make the move, push the button, do what he got to do. I hear people that say they don't want Bruce Bowen. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Bowen is not bad. Keyword, I think it was Fred Katz or whatever. He had a conversation with him, and Bruce put it out there. But one contender team I want to play for, and that's the New York Knicks. The key word, a contending team. We are a contending team amongst the other podcasters, the other teams in the league. We don't think we're a contending team because that's just us talking. But I tell everybody, start listening to what somebody else is saying about the New York Knicks when we coming in their town. Listen to some of the other podcasters. Listen to some of the other the other speakers, you know what I'm saying, that be speaking like Frazier and them for the other team when the Knicks is coming to town. They scared to death. The whole league don't want to see the Knicks make another move, you know what I'm saying? But we need to start pushing out the buttons, whether we like the play or not. But if it's a movable contract that you can move next year and you can't get the pieces that you want this year, go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. I don't want April. I keep telling you, I don't want the first round. I don't want the second round. That's not going to do me no good. I want June. I want June. I want to be in the NBA championship. I don't shortchange myself. Get to the finals, man. Get to the finals and stop looking for April. Look for June. Kobe, may he rest in heaven. Always share what he say. I don't care about MVP in the regular season. Give me the MVP in June. He got 5 of them. Mike, he got 6 of them. These guys want MVPs in June. They don't care about regular season. That's why Mike got more MVPs in June than he got in regular seasons. You know what I'm saying? Count them up, man. Start looking towards June, man. And how's everybody doing? My favorite guys. Shout out to my
Boogie bringing the fire as always. What it do, J Boog? You know what? Appreciate you, bro. Real quick, let's see. I saw we got a $5 super chat from our boy Paris the Goat Duggar. Life sucks because iHeart has been great, so we have to trade him before he turns back into a pumpkin. We're his 4th team for a reason, like Robert Williams in Boston. Oh snap, man! Dude,
Paris Duggar with the salt this morning.
Paris said,
Paris
I'll throw another
again.
$2,000 in the iHeart in a package with grinds and picks gets us as guy. Paris said, "Let the German go."
Hey, I'm gonna jump out your way. I'm quite sure somebody else, but I want to send a special shout out to my man, the young Warner Wolf, Mr. Stephen Fox. I had a great conversation with him yesterday. It's great to see him, you know what I'm saying, all aboard, you know, sharing his knowledge and sharing his kind words of wisdom, you know what I'm saying? Because when he speaks, you know what I'm saying, that's a sure conversation for your ear to make sure you're listening. And if he's not talking and he's just texting, that's a sure conversation for your eyes to be reading. Shout out to Mr. Stephen Fox, a.k.a. the young Warner Wolf. Y'all guys have a great day. I'm sorry it takes so long to pull the truck over, man. Salute.
Never long. You're always on point, Jay. Later, Dave.
No doubt, baby.
Yo. So real quick, before we bring up the next person, I want to talk something that Jay Boogie just said that makes so much sense, but also another thing that he said, which I feel like is what throws off the front office. You know, he talks about wanting that young player, investing in that young, promising, could be a great talent through the years, like Williams. Like, doesn't give us the vet that's going to only be good for the last contract for the next 2 or 3 years. But I don't think that the front office understands that it can be a both and, that we can get a player like that that helps us contend right now, but also helps us to contend through the years. They know that fans are saying, hey, I'm not thinking summer. I'm thinking now. I'm thinking April. Like, give us April. So now they're looking for those vets that they feel can guarantee them April and meet that need of the fan base. So I think that's the conflicting, thing is like, can we do the here and now, be successful in April, but also bring in a player that's going to be good for us for the next 5 to 7 years, as opposed to 2 to 3. I think there is that possibility, but I don't think the front office sees them both working in conjunction.
Well, all right, before we bring up the next two couple, we got 2 people backstage. So we had 82 people interact with the poll. 64% believes that it's going to be Alec Burks. 36% believes that it's going to be Bruce Bound. So we may have a reunion with our guy Alex Burks.
I will do a caveat.
The backup point guard for the season. I'm gonna do a backup
poll. If there's an option of no, which one wins? Here we go. Go ahead.
And as well, I threw a few extra moderator wrenches out there. I threw a moderator wrench to our guy Smooth, who is backstage. He will be joining us momentarily. Of course, Jay Boogie, the closer. I thought I gave him one, but Jay Boogie, the closer, got another moderator wrench out there. And then Nah in the chat. Nah, I had to give Nah a moderator wrench just because I like the name Nah. You feel me? Nah. So let's bring up the next 2 guys to join us in the conversation. Double A, let me get a thumbs up. My guy Smooth, let me get a thumbs up to let me know that you guys are ready to come on the panel. They both are ready. So I'm going to bring up Double A first, and then I'm going to bring up my guy Smooth.
What up,
my brother. Hope all is well. Happy New Year's, my guy.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on real quick before y'all go. What up, Smooth? You got the day off or something? We get blessed with you this morning? What up, my guy?
Hey, man, just, Just relax and enjoying the show. Shout out to you guys as well, man. This is a dope show.
Appreciate
I
you, bro.
appreciate you, Smooth.
Always.
Appreciate you, Smooth.
All right,
Double
leave
A,
the combo. Go ahead.
What's going on, fellas?
chilling, brother. How Paul as well? Family's doing good.
Yeah. How about you? Phil's good to
All
see
is well. All is good. All is good.
Right.
Too.
You know,
Good to see.
the man jumped on me, man. Did me wrong, bro. You know, it was like a Carolina versus Florida thing. He made your boy bet San Diego win the starts thing. You see what he did? He gave me almost a heart attack, man. Had me winning and the leading and coming back, and then all of a sudden.
Oh, you're talking about the be.
It's not great.
Nah, it's all good. Double A, it's all good when it comes to the duck race. I'm gonna throw it over to Smooth first to lead
Hold
the
up, real
conversation
quick,
because
Double
Smooth
A.
hasn't been here in a while. Go ahead, Phil.
Double A, if that's your mic down there, that's hanging, it's not letting us hear you very clearly since it's hanging down. Or is your mic on the computer?
No, I'm actually not going with a mic because for some reason that's why I fell off the first time because my headphones, man, for some reason.
All good.
We good. We're
All
messing
good.
with the volume
We'll-
settings.
Yeah. We'll
got
fix
it,
it in the
Phil.
back. Smooth. I'll throw it over to you to lead the conversation. You was with us in the chat. What's your thoughts on the conversation when it comes to these different trade scenarios and rumors that are coming out there? Go ahead, Smooth. I'll throw it over to you.
Well, for starters, I just want to say that I'm grateful for being on this great show. So I got to start off by giving you guys props. As far as the trades, I'm not the biggest Bruce Brown fan. We already have Josh Hart. So, like, how many role players do we want on this team? You know, does that elevate us to championship contention? I'm not really sure about that. So at some point, you got to make a swing for a guy. Right now, I would say Murray is the best fit, but are you willing to give up the picks to get that player? It seems like the Knicks are hesitant to give up the picks. It just doesn't make sense that you're willing to give up picks for role players, but you're not willing to do it for a real guy who could elevate the team to challenge the Bucks, the Boston Celtics, right? And for those who doubt Murray, look at what he did in Atlanta last year in the playoffs versus the Boston Celtics. He played really good, right? So at some point, I get the whole fit look, right? But at some point, when do we elevate the talent to challenge those teams? Because are you going to be okay with just being competitive and losing to these good teams all the time when it matters? Or do you actually want to beat these teams? Now, for me, I want to beat these teams. So for me, that's why I love a Donovan Mitchell. I love a DeJounte Murray on the team because it gets us to that point where it's not just a pushover anymore. You can say to these, teams that are going to the Eastern Conference Finals like Miami, like the Bucks, like the Celtics, like, hey, you can't look over us no more. Now we can beat you now consistently. So until we make that move, we're always just going to be competitive. And for me, I just want to see us move up in the ranks.
Yeah, and that's
I
true, man.
respect
Like
that.
that's the whole thing is a trade is supposed to be made to get you further. Like you don't trade in your car, like that's got 100,000 miles and find a car that's got 99,500. Like that's not the kind of traded you're trying to do with your car. That's not the kind of thing you're trying to do anywhere else. So for us to trade something for this team, it should be because it gets us something better than what we're already putting out on the court. And some of these trades, as great of a player as this player may be, it's not a fit for us. And like I said earlier, we just got rid of logjam of very similar players when it came to our starting lineup. Why are we now starting to look at very similar players for our bench? When this OG trade has shown us what we need, we should be focusing on what that has shown us. It has shown us what we needed. Our full attention should be on filling those needs, not filling up a roster with whatever role players are willing to talk good about New York. That's great that Bruce Brown talks good about New York. That is very sweet of him. That's awesome. That doesn't get us to the Eastern Conference Finals. It just doesn't. So I agree with you completely, Smooth.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Go ahead, Smooth. Go ahead. And I'll chime in and then throw it over to Double A. Go ahead, Smooth.
Because if you think about it, right, we have so many draft picks. We're not drafting kids anymore. What are we waiting for? You get what I'm saying? Because it's not like these star players grow on trees where it's guaranteed we can get a start in, the offseason. It's not guaranteed. We haven't had good luck, period. Right? So, like, my thing is if you can get a guy What are you waiting for? You're not drafting more kids. We just got rid of all the kids. So at some point, we got to look at Tibbs and the front office and say, hey, when are you going to get that guy? Because next year, when Brunson's contract and Randle's contract is over, it's not guaranteed. There's nothing guaranteed in this business, right? It's not guaranteed they resign. Now, we assume they are because it's kind of their franchise, right? But what if there are other teams in the Western Conference or maybe in the East that say, hey, why don't you come here and play with us? And it could still be your team. There's nothing guaranteed. So you got to at least show Brunson like, hey, you're in the prime of your career. You're an MVP candidate. You're an all-star this year. We got to put the best team around you because you're the best player to make you want to stay here and show you that we want to win. Why are we just cool with just being in the middle? Doesn't make no sense, fellas. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
No, I'm right there with you, Smooth, especially when it comes to this draft that's coming up. When you look at the projections for this draft, it's not that many household names that are coming out of this draft that's coming up, especially in this draft class. So when you look at what we have when it comes to assets and picks, when it comes to draft assets, especially with our 2 protected first-round picks in this upcoming draft, the New York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau is not going to be willing to develop some players over the next 3 to 4 years. We've come to the point that it's win now mode, especially with Tom Thibodeau. We traded away RJ Barrett. We traded away Emmanuel quickly. Tom Thibodeau was never a component or never was a coach that was willing to draft a young player and develop them fully. So when it comes down to it, the front office, they have to show out this trade deadline and this offseason. So like I've said in previous shows, I know the front office, they have their own window when it comes to when the Knicks are going to truly compete for a championship. We're coming close to that window right now. But I think the front office is worried about getting fleeced in any trade, whether it's DeJounte Murray, whether it's for Bruce Brown, whether it's for Alex Burks. They don't want to give up more than what they need to give up in any trade because they're still trying to hold on to as many first-round picks for this offseason coming up. According to Rhodes, this is the offseason where the New York Knicks' front office is going to go hard to try to get them that superstar. Who that superstar is, I have no idea. You muted, South.
That's why I always say I feel like it's lip service. Because we can sit here and say, yeah, we're going after a big name, but then you sit and you're like, what big name is available?
Yeah.
Like if you really go and say who's really going to be available in the offseason, right? It then forces the conversation. Every channel does it, right? Well, if he's really angry, if they get knocked out of the first round, maybe he'll ask for a trade. Yeah, we're all going to speculate that Embiid is just going to say, I want out, right? So, yes, we're making all these big plans, but it's like a plan for what, though? Who really becomes available in the offseason to be that big splash? Right now, I think where we stand, we all see our bench outside this last game. They looked good against the Raptors, but outside of that, our bench has been doo-doo. We need to fix that, right? I'm okay with the way our 5 looks when you have DDV in there and stuff. Fine, but go not a crazy trade. Go get me pieces that are going to make this bench work because that's going to be our downfall the rest of the season.
So last thing I'll say before we throw it to Double A, when it comes to your question, Smooth, I think the problem is that like we still keep holding on to this idea that a star is just going to want to be in New York. And so we keep on pushing things back. Push it back in the calendar. Push it back a little bit. Push it back. But we've shown that we invest in kids not to have longevity with them, but to use them as pawns for something else, to keep us currently relevant. And I think that's the case right now, is that we're trying to stay relevant enough so that our front office, our coach, everybody is in good standings and good light, which is good, but that so that we can then get that star down the road. But there's no guarantee in that. So if we're going to bank on these guys and we're going to say that Jalen Brunson is good enough to be our guy, put the money where the mouth is. Put players around him that are going to get us to that next spot. Do not do another Carmelo Anthony thing where you're looking at vets or players that are no longer shining on other teams and build that around Jalen Brunson so that when his time here is done, we have to say the same thing we said with Melo. We didn't put the players around him because we were waiting for this one star to become available. No, if we're going to build right now, make the calls, make the moves for the players that are available. Don't worry about off season. Don't worry about next season. Worry about now if you're really trying to contend right now. Don't be in this middle like seesaw back and forth, because we know how that's done for us in the past. And one thing I want to bring up is D-Block had a great point. If you look at the summer, he had his interview with us, but it was made very apparent and clear that he thought the Pacers were superior in his decision making, that he chose to go with the Pacers over really considering the Knicks. And now that the Pacers have discarded him and he doesn't fit what they're doing, now Bruce Brown is like, oh, I would love to play for the Knicks. Well, he didn't.
And I would like to say I'm a part of the petty biznatch crew. All right. And it's those little comments. I'm like, no, you stay the hell away from New York.
Right.
We don't want you.
Like Knicks 100 just said, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Point blank, period. Folks, we got over 180 people still in the building. We appreciate all of you guys. We are sitting at 2,942 subscribers, 8 away from 2,950. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, help us out by just hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button as well. Double A, we're going to throw it over to you. The floor is yours, my guy.
Look, fellas, I agree with you. I agree with Phil. We got to get out this middle ground. I also agree with Jay Boogie. It's nothing wrong with giving Thunder a call and offering them. Look, if we got to overpay, would you overpay to add Jalen Williams to what he would do for this team? Would you? I would for Jalen Williams.
Easy.
Other than that, I'm not overpaying for Murray. The only people I would be trading my number 1 picks and Grimes and all that for is either marketing or Spider. And I don't think either one of them is logical this season. So what I would pivot to is just like Hector said, give Chicago a call. I don't think I brought this up Saturday on Still Nights. I don't think it's too far out the realm to believe that DeRozan will come to the Knicks and accept a 6-man role and accept his career being extended and not being asked to do everything. And Drummond, we know he's the answer for what he does. Okay. Then we also got Washington with Jones and Gafford. Those are two. Now, those are type trades. Those are the type 2 pieces that we need, I think, that would solidify us, because I'm among the ones that believe we have enough in the starting lineup with Jalen Brunson to take us where we got to go. I do believe we got enough to take us where we got to go. But another option that we can do is package, if we don't use them, and we shouldn't, to bring any penny people on board, but we keep a hold of our unprotected number 1s and our protected number 1s, I would package them and put my scouting crew on a mission to get me a gem, man. No, we don't have to add, and we can't add 4 rookies this offseason, but we can take those 4 and turn it into a higher pick and get us a gem. I mean, we hired that guy at Utah to do the certain thing. So, hey, dude, go to work. Get us a gem. But I'm agree, man. We don't overpay. Let's not overpay for Murray. Unless it's marketing and Spider, let's make that move. Let's give Chicago a call, like Hector said, or let's go to Washington.
You know what's been really crazy for me is it feels like every week, all these questions that we ask are being forced to be answered, right? It was just, 3 weeks ago, we're like, man, what happens if Jalen Brunson gets injured? And then we had to see what that looked like, and it wasn't good. Then we're like, man, we're going to be in trouble if we lose iHeart for a few games. We don't have a real backup center. Here we are now. We're in that situation. So it's like we keep, as fans, saying, here's what we know could be an issue, and this is the first season forever that right after we say it, we're getting smacked in the face. We're like, hey, front office, hey, Tibbs, we told you what happens if we lose. We're going to end up seeing a Sims, and we're all going to be sitting here saying, oh, shit, if iHeart's really out for a couple games, what the hell are we going to do? We all said, what do we get? Once IQ and Randall left, or RJ left, we're like, what's that second unit going to look like without IQ? We have no one that's going to bring the ball up. Smack in the face. Now we're seeing it. We're seeing that second unit struggle. So it's like we know the moves that have to be made. I think where the biggest divide is, I don't think most of the fan base trusts the process that we're told to follow. We don't trust that they'll make the right move to bring the right pieces in here. I gave them a little bit of my faves move when they made the OG trade. I was like, okay, I didn't see that shit coming. No, they love this guy and they showed us why. I fear that we get so caught up on the guys that may mention the Knicks for leverage that are never really realistic. And we spend a month like we have talking about, could you imagine Murray here? But he publicly himself, guys, just 3 weeks ago said he'd love to play for the Lakers. Yes, we know he'd fit great here, but when they're here saying, I want to go somewhere else, that's one of those ones for me that I'm like, screw you. Then I don't want to talk about you. I'm not going to sit here and cry over you going to the Lakers when you want to go there. So yeah. I guess for me, guys, I don't have the answer on who that main piece is. What'd you say, Heck?
I say I'll still talk about him, though.
Here's the thing. We don't know what we don't know. Like that OG trade made it very obvious, like we didn't see it coming. We talked about it last year and here it is, now it's making things happen. So we can hope and believe that the front office is, doing something that we don't know, maybe they'll surprise us again. But bottom line for me, whoever we go after, it has to move the needle. Like if you think about it, the problem with us is, we said it earlier, is we wait till things are too late and then we try to package it. Like it doesn't make sense. One thing that my wife gets really frustrated at when we're at the dinner table is if she serves like some kind of green that I don't really like, and she's telling the kids to eat it and they're like, well, dad hasn't eaten his, I'm crap out of luck because I'm showing all my cards. I'm showing that like every other portion of my meal has been eaten except those greens. I can't really come at my 6-year-old and my 3-year-old and be like, yo, you ain't eating your greens. I've shown them that I don't really like my greens either. So now we have an Evan Fournier who has come out like probably 6 times this season saying they hate me. I can't believe I'm still here. I thought I'd be traded. Now you have a Grimes who's gone from starting lineup to the bench to 20-something minutes off the bench. Now last game, 12 minutes off the bench. And we're like, hey, what would you guys take for a promising young player and a 3-point shooter in Evan Fournier? These guys are elite. Who can we get? Like we've already devalued them. They are the greens on my plate that we're trying to get other teams to want. And it's a little bit too late, I think, in my opinion, to hold high value to those things that they don't believe we hold high value to. And so I think that's where the front office has messed up. They've done a lot of good things, especially with that OG trade, but we've held on to players that we devalued and expect other people to hold them in high regards. That's why it's going to take more picks from us than it would other teams, because other teams aren't showing their cards completely on the players that they're trading, saying we don't really value this card.
I want to shout out Cheesy Soul Cakes. We are 9-2 since the trade, number 1 D, yet all we do is say we need more. Listen, we're never satisfied, Cheesy Souls. We want to win it all.
That's a fact.
Go ahead, Smooth.
That's a fact. I am never satisfied as a Knicks fan. Go ahead, Smooth.
So I don't know how real that Lakers thing is for DeJounte Murray, but let me tell you something. If they get DeJounte Murray with no draft picks, okay, that tells me right there that this front office doesn't have enough good relationships to get star players, because it literally makes no sense that we can offer Atlanta, 1, 2, 3 picks, right? Whatever the offer is. Maybe a young player, maybe Mitch, whatever. But you go to the Lakers and take that bogus offer with no draft picks, maybe an expiring contract. Come on, bro. At some point, the front office has to build enough relationships with these other owners and these other front offices to get those guys, because at some point, you got to get a star here, bro. You can't just be cool with just what we have. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Because we were sold on the idea that Leon Rose is the kingmaker, that Leon Rose is the guy that will finally get the superstar that the New York Knicks have been missing out on for years. We were sold that bag of goods as Knicks fans. And to this day, we've gotten Jalen Brunson, who's been phenomenal, and Julius Randle. We haven't gotten that quote unquote game-changing superstar that we were promised that we was going to get.
So we need to stay on the path, right, Heck? And that's why I think we should stick with this starting 5 and add to it. Like Celso said, strengthen our bench for this season. Don't do anything hectic. Don't overpay. Don't play that game. And to answer you, Smooth, to give Leon Rose and them a break off of that, what you said, we can't do nothing if Clutch doesn't want to play ball with us, It's not what we can do. They can wish and want and offer what they want. But I think this is a LeBron James thing, satisfy LeBron James, satisfy the king. But we good. Of course, because to me, Murray to the Lakers don't get them the chip anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Here's the last thing I'll say in regards to someone in the chat. I'm trying to find it, but they were like, yo, we're 9-2 with the OG trade and we're still talking about needing more. We're not complaining with what we have. Like, that trade made us better. The problem is that unfortunately, it also came at a time where we even said we were entering the easy part of our season. Like, we were entering the easy below 500 or right at 500 teams, which we know we are elite against those teams. We know that. So the problem is that we said that the team that we wanted to see how well we did with this OG trade to really help us figure out what we needed was going up against Luka and the Mavericks. And then unfortunately, Luka was out and we still lost. That's an issue. That makes us go, okay, what if we play the Bostons and the Milwaukees? We need to see how this team actually lines up. But when's the next time we play those teams? Is it too close to the trade deadline to really then make a decision? No, that loss against the Mavericks without Luka Doncic shows us that we still need more. Our bench unit is struggling. We need to make that bench strong. We need contention. So I don't think we need to disrupt the starting lineup to contend, but we can't just stay where we're at and expect Jalen Brunson, OG, and Randle to go into the playoffs playing 38 to 42 minutes a game and expect over a 7-game series that to beat a Milwaukee, that to beat a Boston team. That's not going to happen. So we need something off of our bench. We need a guy that can actually boost us an 18 to 22 point guaranteed night off the bench, an actual sixth man, and then build off of that. So doesn't mean we're not happy with what that trade has done for us. That trade made us so much better, but that does not mean that we are ready to go Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, but if you look at Twitter right now, Phil, Knicks fan since birth, that Franco wants to, quote tweet us. We'll shout you out, bro. You quote tweet us, I'll quote tweet you back. We're 9 games over 500. We still bitching about Leon Rose and we need a star. Shaking my damn head. 2-hour show, and that's the moral of the story you got from it. Shut up. Yo, Smooth, Double A. Appreciate both of y'all coming through on the open panel. Jay Boogie, as usual. I'm going to drop y'all off on there. I'll follow y'all on social, and we'll holler back at y'all in a bit. Appreciate you.
Love you guys.
Love you too, Smooth. Appreciate you.
Love when you live on the show, you got people quote tweeting you. Oh, you guys are bitching. You guys are bitching. Who bitches?
First of all, don't ever say that like that ever again. We're sitting at 176 likes, over 200 people in the building. If you guys can smack that like button, let's end the stream with 200 likes. And again, when it comes to the subscribers, we are sitting at 2,944 subscribers, 66 away from the magical number of 3K. So Knicks fans, Yankee fans, Jet fans, Ranger fans, if you're out there, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Fellas, that was a great show. Shout out to the chat, Paris Delga, Shy Powers, Knicks 100. For me, all I want going forward, when it comes to Leon Rose, right? I get it. 9 games over 500. I'm responding to the person who quote treated us, right? I get it. We're 9 games over 500, right? You take Jalen Brunson away from this team, we ain't even in the conversation for the postseason, I believe, right? But this front office promised us, especially we were sold on a bag of goods that Leon Rose is the kingmaker to help us get to that threshold when it comes to finally getting that star over here to the Knicks. And we are still waiting for that superstar. We got Jalen Brunson, who was a nice piece, a nice 1A. We need that superstar to go next to Jalen Brunson, and you can have Julius Randle as your third option on this team, and I'll be happy with that going into the postseason. Anything else before we get out of here, fellas?
I will say
one thing I want to say real quick.
Go ahead, Philly.
One thing I want to say real quick
on Twitter, going back and forth.
I'm still there. If that Franco's on, that's my guy. We he always on a lot. But I'm gonna say this to him: if us talking about trades and players that it has come out that apparently the front office is interested in, That's content we're creating based off of what has come out that the front office is in, has expressed interest in. So are they just haters? Does the front office not like our organization, does not like our team? If our front office is interested in players, does our front office hate Jalen Brunson, hate the fact that we're 9-2? Or does the front office actually play like the front office should play, trying to make our team the best that there is? We would not have these conversations about potential players if it did not come out that these were potential players that the front office was interested in. Doesn't make any sense. Basura take. Keep it to yourself. Knicks for clicks tweet at its finest. Love you, but get out of here.
And on that note, let's go spank the Nets tomorrow. Wednesday,
Yes,
Jay
sir.
Ferrara, our boy, is back on the show with us this Wednesday. Lock in with us. A lot more content coming your way. Again, guys, you can find it on social in the description. You want to help us take this to the next level, you can check us out at buymycoffee.com/Morning Brew Sports.
Buy us a coffee.
So buy us a coffee. And on that note, deuces.
Deuces. We'll pull off. Bye.